We open as a group to the principles of the new astrology, given to us as the science of relations by Master D.K. in the Treatise on the Seven Rays, Volume 3, Esoteric Astrology. The science of the rays, the science of the triangles, the science of the centers. Through esoteric understanding, we attempt to open the way to the higher evolution as a discipleship group.
As we advance in the energies of Aries, let us be reminded by Master D.K. Again and repeatedly, students must remind themselves that we are considering the impact of energy upon energy units, all qualified and producing appearance, and with the response of those energy units to the streams of force which reach them from the furthest center. It is in the development of response to distant points of contact and emanating sources of energy that the needed sensitivity is produced. Again and There are 6 words for disciples given to us by Master D.K. The first is recollection, resulting in concentration. So as we begin, we're going to recall some of the important teachings to incorporate into our group mind as we move through Aries and begin our approach to Taurus and the Wesak festival.
Rays that flow through Aries are curiously balanced. Rays 1 and 7 are the highest and the lowest, and therefore demand a point of balance upon the wheel, which is provided in Libra. Rays 6 and 4 bring to this balancing process the energy of the second ray, the major building ray which enables the man to build anew and provide himself with a spiritual body of manifestation.
The Lord of Love Wisdom, who is the embodiment of pure love, is regarded by esotericists as being as close to the heart of the solar logos as was the beloved disciple close to the heart of the Christ of Galilee. This life instills into all forms the quality of love, which its more material manifestation of desire, and is the attractive principle in nature and the custodian of the law of attraction, which is the life demonstration of pure being. This Lord of Love is the most potent of the 7 rays, because he is on the same cosmic ray as the solar deity. He expresses himself primarily through the planet Jupiter, which is his body of manifestation. His symbol is the thunder, the word that cycles down the ages.
Just to briefly remind ourselves of the flow of love wisdom from the furthest cosmic centers that we know of, through Sirius and 3 constellations to Uranus and the hierarchy. As disciples, functioning in the heart center of the discipleship group, we seek to raise soul consciousness in humanity. And the solar plexus must be lifted to the heart, transmuting the personal desire that is activated through this flow of love wisdom. The activity of the heart center, DK tells us, never demonstrates in connection with individuals. This is a basic fact. And what devastates most disciples is the solar plexus activity or ability, when purified and consecrated, as we achieve on the path of discipleship, to identify itself with individuals. The heart center cannot react except under group impetus, group happiness or unhappiness, and other group relations. So we, as disciples, are working with humanity, where our principal task is to assist humanity to purify the astral bodies and the astral field of those glamours and illusions that inhibit the true sense of soul consciousness. An important reminder at this time, we are including consideration of the potent and important systemic effects and planetary impact of the conjunction of Jupiter and Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. Yvonne, would you read this for us, please?
Jupiter. Jupiter gives an inherent tendency to fusion, which nothing can arrest. The achievement of ultimate synthesis is inevitable, and this Jupiter promotes.
Would you continue?
There is another point in connection. There is another point in connection with the planetary influences, which I would like to mention here. Jupiter rules 4 signs, and each of them represents a different element out of the 4, which are expressing themselves in the 3 worlds of human evolution. The following tabulation will make this somewhat clearer. Jupiter is the ruler and the conveyor of expansion. Virgo, Pisces, Virgo, Earth, the hidden Christ. Pisces, water, the hidden Savior. Sagittarius, fire, the hidden Master. Aquarius, air, the hidden server. Adding important interrelationships for study and reflection as part of this potent conjunction.
Catherine, are you able to read with us today?
Yes. Uranus embodies the energy of the 7th ray, and its work is analogous to that of Mercury. For the 7th ray is the ray which relates spirit and matter and brings together electric fire and fire by friction, thus producing manifestation. Uranus leads the soul to the burning ground during the final stages of the path, when the fire of Aries and the fires engendered through the potency of Uranus produce the flaming heat of the final burning ground. Through this burning ground, the initiate has finally to pass. Uranus rules the occult way and is, in an esoteric sense, connected with the Hierophant of the mysteries of initiation. Through Uranus, hierarchical ruler also, Aries is related to Aquarius, the sign of world service, leading to death and liberation in Pisces. Uranus is the planet through which zodiacal energy flows, in connection with the creative hierarchies upon our planet, from one of the stars of the Great Bear. At the 5th and final initiation, Uranus and Jupiter appear and produce a beneficent organization, of the totality of energies found in the initiate's equipment. When this reorganization is complete, the initiate can then escape from off the wheel and then can truly live.
As we study and reflect on this important conjunction in Taurus, we might want to consider those initiates currently in incarnation who may be under this impulse moving through this final stage. It's an important consideration because, as DK says, in this science of relations, the new astrology, the interconnections, the interrelationships of the higher and lower are so important. And many of the groups, the discipleship groups affiliated with various ashrams, are working under the guidance of fifth degree initiates. We looked at this in one of our previous opening to the energies, but I thought it would be important to remind us of this peculiar, mysterious interrelationship that brings Aries, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius together in this quaternary that is called the personality expression of the solar logos. With the beginnings and initiation in Aries, the tests and trials of discipleship in Scorpio, the individualization and soul expression in Leo, and the universal consciousness achieved in Aquarius through service. That this is about the manifestation of deity, and there is an important relationship, peculiarly and interestingly and dynamically, with Uranus and Jupiter. In Aries, Uranus; in Leo, the Sun veiling Uranus and veiling Jupiter; in Aquarius, Jupiter and Uranus dominating in rulership. And this connects to the pointer star in Aries of the cardinal cross, the star of Ceres on the fixed cross in Scorpio, the Polaris on the fixed cross, and Alcyon on the fixed cross, bringing a great impulse of Jupiterian and Uranian energy into those signs and that quaternary. Also, as we have reviewed in previous openings to the energies of Taurus, that Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus brings a tremendous impulse in terms of this major keynote, I see, and when the eye is opened, all is light. For the new group of world servers is the ajna center of the personality of our planetary life. And the awakening of the ajna center, the new group of world servers, with the consequent and subsequent conscious control of the throat center, which is humanity, must inevitably take place, provided the disciples, we, fulfill two conditions. We can then become consciously, safely, and correctly creative. These two conditions being a conscious orientation towards the soul and towards the hierarchy, and a deep love for humanity, present and based on mental perception and intuitive understanding, and not on emotional reaction. Catherine Blandford, are you able to read today?
Yes. Ray 2, love, wisdom. The second purpose of deity, the cosmic Christ. The desire of the deity expresses itself through the second ray of love, wisdom. This second ray is preeminently the ray of applied consciousness and works through the creation and development of those forms which are found throughout the universe.
Would you continue?
Heart center, hierarchy, second ray, sixth root race, love, the goal, energy of identification, achievement of fusion, six centers functioning, the focal point of the egoic consciousness of divinity, the fifth kingdom, the kingdom of God.
And as we may remember, we're told by Master DK that the next 1,000 years in the incoming energy of Aquarius and the impulse of the fourth ray, there's a 1,000-year period in which the astral field of humanity will be cleared through the work of the disciples as we move from the fifth root race, fifth sub-race, to the transition of the fifth root race, sixth sub-race, which is a tremendous transition period into the sixth root race, where the achievement will be this fusion, and there will be six centers functioning, and there is going to be the achievement for humanity of the level of the fifth kingdom, the kingdom of the soul, the kingdom of God. It's a tremendous impulse for us to internalize, to understand the role that we play as part of the new group of world servers. DK reminds us that love is that synthetic, inclusive grasp of the life and needs of all beings. It negates all that builds barriers, it negates all that makes criticism, and it negates all that produces separation. Love sees no distinction, even when it appreciates need, and love produces in the one who loves as a soul immediate identification with that which is loved. We demonstrate this as impersonal love through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. Martine, would you read this for us, please, if you're able?
Yes. From Agni Yoga Heart, Sloka 596. Pure thinking, constancy, and benevolence bring the heart energy into action. A person's karmic merits may increase the intensity and refinement of his heart. But each time he strives to the hierarchy, it opens up his heart according to the level of his strength. People should firmly bear in mind that there is but one path to salvation, through the heart. The affirmation of the law of the heart has traversed the entire span of human history. It can be observed how, after a few centuries pass, people again turn to the one path.
The words of Master Moria, given to Helena Rohr. Michael Robbins had said that the Agni Yoga slokas are a great support for discipleship and for those of us striving on the path of initiation and the path of discipleship. Strengthen the heart. This is another recollection in our theme of recalling what we've already covered, that in our use of meditations 1 and 2, we learned how to lift the solar plexus to the heart in group formation, strengthening our group heart, and using the will to lift the lower self into the light divine. That requires us to focus in the soul consciousness and descend to where the lower self awaits our coming, the solar plexus, and lift the lower point to the higher point of the solar plexus. And doing that in group formation, desiring to lift that which cries aloud for lifting, which we can hear in the cries of humanity, and gives us further impetus to affirm in Aries the will to be and do with
a statement to the personality made by you, the soul, the disciple. We stand in the center of the will of God. I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from his. In unity, I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve humanity.
As Master DK tells us, service is the technique of correct group relations. So let us pause briefly and see if you can recall, you can recollect that first word for disciples, the concepts that Master DK has given us in his teachings that guide us. Note 1 or 2 to hold before we consider, as a discipleship group, life as our theme in Aries, the quality of the heart, which DK says is expressed activity, which is the manifestation of love, this group heart, love because it is essential dualism, love wisdom. This phrase, Om Mani Padme Hum, has been used by one of our Moria Federation groups as a way to unify using this tonality. Om Mani Padme Hum, sounded forth as a group, repeated as a chorus, as a chant.
Response, resulting in an interaction between higher and lower.
On behalf of humanity as the world disciple, we endeavor to build the Antakarana, which builds the connection of the lower to the higher along the way of evolution, along the path of discipleship, and through the path of initiation, leading from initiation to initiation along the Antakarana. We connect the great triangle of humanity, hierarchy, and Shambhala. As a soul vehicle moves progressively to the next subplane or the higher mental plane of the higher mental plane. Along the path of initiation, we move from mother matter along the trajectory, the first, second, third, and fourth compulsory initiations of our planetary life for humanity, to achieve a level of ashramic life with the destruction of the causal body. When the antakarana of a group is rightly constructed, then the individualized group will disappear in the full consciousness of the monadic purpose or clear directed will, and achieve identification on the subplanes of the spiritual triad. Always mindful of the greater expanding consciousness through soul contact, as each one of us passes through many lives as cells in the body of the planetary logos. And the vortices of the causal vehicle gradually open, radiate, rotate, and become vibrant streams of living, loving life in triangles linking centers based on the ray of the monad, so that in our group service, we link to these higher triangles, the greater triangles, and activate the knowledge petals, love petals, sacrifice petals of the egoic lotus, and eventually reveal the jewel. This heart center in the head that we hope to open fully, when adequately radiatory and magnetic, relates us afresh to each other and to all the world. He says this again, when connected by an act of the spiritual will to the solar plexus center, will help to produce that telepathic interplay which is so much to be desired and which is so constructively useful to the spiritual hierarchy, provided it is established within a group of pledged disciples dedicated to the service of humanity. Then we can be trusted.
This is the energy of mediation, of right relationship. Today, as never before, the hierarchy stands as a mediating transmitter between one, humanity and the will of God. The revelation of the true significance and purpose of that will as it stands behind all world events is needed now as never before. This can come through a closer relation between the hierarchy and humanity. 2, humanity and its karma. For it is equally essential that the laws for the transmutation of karma into active, present good are clearly grasped. 3, humanity and cosmic evil. Focused for many millennia of years in what is being called the Black Lodge. Speculation anent this lodge and its activities is both fruitless and dangerous.
This gives our foundation for our use of meditation in bringing us into closer relationship to the hierarchy.
Remember that the entire story of evolution is the story of consciousness and of a growing expansion of the becoming aware principle. so that from the microscopic interest of the self-conscious man, we have a slowly developing inclusiveness, which finally leads into the consciousness of the cosmic Christ.
Therefore, we superimpose the greater triangles to unify our approach and bring into our consciousness the Christ principle.
First, as the point within the triangle, Christ becomes the awakener of the hearts of men and the one who institutes right human relations by being simply what he is and by standing unmoved where he is. This he accomplishes by transmitting the energies from the 3 points of the surrounding triangle to humanity. This blended impersonal energy, triple in nature, will be spread abroad universally, producing evolutionary growth, attracting people and nations magnetically to each other and automatically causing the unfoldment of the sense of synthesis, of provable unity, and of a desirable fusion.
Emphasizing the result of the weekly meditation, the triangle of synthesis, bringing down through from the avatar of synthesis, the spirit of equilibrium, the spirit of peace, and the Lord Buddha, the purveyor of wisdom, to the Christ, Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity. Emphasizing in this teaching from DK the important Christ principle and the role of the Christ standing with this blended impersonal energy, triple in nature. Catherine, would you read this for us, please? Catherine Powers.
Yes. Oft an aspirant says to himself, "Of what real use am I? How can I, in my small sphere, be of service to the world?" Let me, Master DK, reply to these questions by pointing out that by thinking this teaching into the minds of the public, by expressing before your fellow men the teaching it imparts, and by a life lived in conforming with its teaching, your service is very real. This will necessarily involve a pledging of the entire personality to the helping of humanity, and the promise to the higher self that endeavor will be made to lose sight of self in service, a service to be rendered in the place and under the circumstances which a man's destiny and duty have imposed upon him.
Never doubt the importance of group service. Never doubt the importance of the individual destiny and duty that we are all presented with. Looking briefly at the flow of will purpose, which were given by Master DK, that comes into the head center of the initiate, the vital part of group work affiliated with an ashram and senior disciples, through which we transmute and transform our self-will into group soul personality will, the will to good expressed as goodwill. Martine.
Agni Yoga, Fire World 2, Sloka 634. Self-control is a very complex quality. It comprises courage, patience, and compassion. But courage must not be anger, compassion should not border on hysteria, and patience must not be hypocrisy. Thus, self-control is complicated, but it is imperatively needed upon entering the higher worlds. One should develop this synthesized quality with the utmost care.
We recognize the presence and the effect of the solar fire that we touch in the soul of our group work, the fire of consciousness, the fire of the soul. Let us embody courage, patience, and compassion, and always stand at the midway point, the way that reaches out in two directions. It inward leads to the high place.
A study of this tabulation will demonstrate that there will be found a structure therein of many triangles of force. Some of these are cosmic, some zodiacal, others systemic, till others planetary in their reflections in the etheric body of the disciples of the world of all grades. Through the great triangle of Shambhala, the hierarchy and humanity, cosmic, zodiacal, and systemic force is focused, and these three become, in their turn, a macrocosmic triangle of energies in relation to the individual human being upon the planet. You have, therefore, the following lines of transmission of force: Shambhala, hierarchy, humanity; head center, heart center, ajna center; base of the spine, solar plexus, throat. One major center is here omitted because it is primarily related to the physical body and its expression of life perpetuation. This is the sacral center. Just as the physical body is regarded by true esotericists as not a principle, so the sacral center is regarded as a necessary avocation between that which is high and that which is low, and between that which is sounded forth from the center in the throat and that which replies to a deeply sounded note.
When we invoke the triangle of Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, linking it to the triangle of the head center, heart center, and ajna center of the new group of world servers, we can then stream energy into the triangle that is that which most of humanity is currently focused in: the base of the spine, the solar plexus, and the heart, and their expression through the throat center. For the throat center is currently considered humanity in that great triangle of Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, and the ajna center as the new group of world servers, that center with which we align and will now begin to attempt to, in a greater way, include all the working service groups affiliated with the ashrams of the masters. So, having lifted the energies of the solar plexus to the heart through our use of meditations 1 and 2, through occult meditation, we now will enter into a group alignment using again the formula of meditation 4 to consider life in the energies of Aries. So we'll cause to quiet the mind, to release any concern or focus in the 3 lower bodies. And then we will align as soul again with the group soul and achieve a point of focused, immovable will, that altitude of the observer that will lead us through and to in the course of this year. Study and implementation of the first rule for disciples and initiates. So let us begin with a stage of recognition. Visualize our group as one great wheel of lighted energy, united in the center as one heart. Yvonne, would you read stage 1?
Stage 1, the stage of recognition. Visualize the group as one great wheel of lighted energy, united in the center as one heart. 1. We recognize our pledged discipleship. Breathing easily and effortlessly, we align first with our own soul, and we sound the Om inaudibly and from the point of soul focus, link to the group heart center along a line of lighted energy from your own triangle of light, which is personality, higher mind, and soul.
Martine,
We recognize our equipment, gratefully rendered. With deep gratitude, we thank all those group members for their contributions to our service. We sound their names and express our gratitude to those who assist us from the other side of the veil. We recognize our interrelationships with all the service groups with which we are affiliated, those standing with us on the periphery of the one ashram, the ashram of the Christ, and the 7, 49, 343 spheres of hierarchical interrelationships, serving now to prepare for the externalization of the hierarchy, unifying in the spiritual triad all servants.
Note that Master DK includes in the imagery of this great hierarchy the soul groups of nations. Let us recognize those servers working in national soul group work. Let us recognize all the disciples and initiates, and let us recognize all the aspirants on the probationary path in service.
Radiation, resulting in a sounding forth.
Sound an inaudible Om, uniting, and listen for the sounding forth of your soul's note in meditation, and hear that note in our service as we sound together a silent Om from the altitude of the soul. We stand, consciously standing in spiritual being with all the serving groups with which we are affiliated. We sound in unison the soul mantra. I am the soul. I am light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Whenever we sound the soul mantra, sense the radiation emanating from all the soul groups, all the service groups affiliated with hierarchy, working on behalf of humanity. We recognize our achieved alignment. We see the group centers aligned in the flow of energy, vitalizing the group and linking to the higher ashramic centers, beginning to become one. Reminding us, as we have read before from Master DK, the strength, availability, and usefulness of an ashram is that of the sum total of all its members and what they contribute, plus that which those above the third degree of initiation can import from still higher sources or the masters of the ashrams can make available at need. We open to a higher relationship with the initiates of the third degree and higher in the ashrams with which we are affiliated. We open to the teachings of Master Morya through the Agni Yoga series. We open and study all of Master DK's teachings. We are opening to the highest teachings that are discerned through our work with those ashramic projects that are emerging in this new era, the Aquarian Age. We recognize the soul, the source of love, wisdom. We visualize the group soul light, and from that point reach toward the spiritual hierarchy, the spiritual triad, for the downflow of goodwill, love, wisdom, and creative intelligence in all our service work. We recognize the hierarchy, the 7 ashrams of the masters receiving the impress of purpose and the energy of the will to love from Shambhala. To the Manu and Master Morya, through the Christ, to the European Master, Master KH and Master DK, through the Mahachohan, to the Master R, and the Venetian Master, Master Serapis, Master Hilarion, Master Jesus, and the unnamed Master of the 7th Ray Ashram. To and through all degrees, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th degree, disciples and initiates, and those on the probationary path, distributing that goodwill to and through all the serving groups. All the groups with which we are affiliated. We attempt to understand and eventually comprehend our role in service to humanity, awakening soul consciousness through our service, and establishing and confirming what DK calls a feeling of shared responsibility, a recognition of group assets and group richness, and a realization of possibility which may greatly strengthen each and every one of us. Sense and know the impersonal love flowing from the Christ into and through all of the ashrams, all the affiliated group work, strengthening us. And as we have been told,
To dare. These words give the clue to the subordination of the personality and have a close connection with the great clearinghouse of desire and of the astral forces, and also the main center of the transmutative work. Humanity, to dare, to serve and embody goodwill.
may it strengthen all the trained observers aligned with the great work to be accomplished in the Aquarian age, the dissipation of glamour and the dispelling of illusion, transmuting the solar plexus of humanity. Clearing the way for the light of the soul to shine forth, transparent and colorless, as DK describes the appearance of the solar plexus of the initiate, working with humanity and bringing the teachings through to the personality of humanity expressed now in the solar plexus center, where the transmutative work is accomplished. Let us dare to serve and embody goodwill. Purpose in Shambhala, to will. Hierarchy, to know the plan. The new group of world servers, to serve with pure intention. Under the impress of hierarchical work, the initiates of the high degree express purpose that is permanent, far-sighted, unalterable, and serves the eternal idea. Through will governing the way to Shambhala, the foundation for all approach, appreciation of, and identification with being. The will which holds all things within the circle of divine life. The agent for the revelation of the divine purpose. We carry out through pure intent. Intention being a magnetic pulling power which leads us forward, the compelling force or motivation of our service work. Catherine Bladford, would you lead us as we again invoke the will?
With this adapted statement to the group personality made by the soul, the disciples, the groups, all aligned with the new group of world servers. In the center of the will of God we stand. Naught shall deflect our united will from the highest will. We implement that will by love. We turn towards the field of service. As the triangle divine, we work out that will within the square and serve humanity.
At any point in the service work, in our daily lives, let us recall the triangles that we invoke together and use the mantra of the will to align with all and find the strength to dare in our daily life, in those moments of test and trial. And let us be energized by light, faith, love, and power. Let us energize the spiritual center within which we serve and the ashramic projects for which we accept responsibility. And say,
I strive towards understanding. Let wisdom take the place of knowledge in my life.
Four, respiration, resulting in creative work.
respiration, inhalation and exhalation. Respiration, invocation and evocation. Respiration, creative work connecting the higher to the lower and lifting the lower to the higher. Martine,
An ashram is a place of quietly confident, regulated effort. The plan and the immediate service activity are known, and disciple and initiate each aware of their task and equipment, proceed to carry out the phase of the one work which is theirs. Each senses its relationship to the phases of the work undertaken by the group brothers and sisters. It is in learning to see the picture whole, as the Master ever sees it, that confidence and security are developed.
Through this year, in the approach up to 2025, we attempt to visualize in our service work all the affiliated and acting service workers, all the ashrams working in a united way to serve humanity and open the path of soul consciousness for those who have yet to step upon the way to the higher evolution. We attempt to let any differences fall away, any perceived differences, and to see and acknowledge the true, the good, and the beautiful in all the service work, that we may act as one great ashram under the impress of the Christ. Yvonne.
This is from Agna Yoga, Fiery World 2. Verily, courage is created through the indissoluble link with the hierarchy. Courage can be contained in the seed and never reveal itself as armor of light. But when our consciousness is completely transported into the domain where there is no fear and depression, then we are invulnerable to any impurity. One should understand where lies one's strength and should hasten thither without any evasiveness. Thus can courage be made firm.
Would you continue?
We say with purpose and determination, I strive towards comprehension. Thy will, not mine, be done.
We say
5. Reunion, resulting in the at-one-ment.
So let us consider as a seed thought for meditation 5 as we move forward. Life, a quality of the heart. And as we go through these final slides, formulate a seed thought that is more specific, that you will hold in the coming month. DK says, for our purposes, we could define life as the energy emanating from certain great lives who stand behind our solar system as its life and source, which as the monad stands, much as the monad stands behind the appearance of a man upon the physical plane or of the soul upon its own level. On the Aries Libra axis, the achieved equilibrium at the point of rest provides the mental impetus for soul control. Passion is transmuted into love, and the initial desire of Aries becomes the full expression of love wisdom. Desire to manifest becomes the aspiration to be. See if you can incorporate in this seed thought some of what we have studied of the rays, for it must be remembered that we're dealing with life expression through the medium of matter form, and this conjunction of Jupiter brings this powerful second ray, and Uranus the powerful seventh ray. The seven rays are the first differentiation of the divine triplicity of spirit, consciousness, and form, and they provide the entire field of expression for the manifested deity. Therefore, we act as if, for as we know, energy follows thought, lifting the mind with aspiration. We consciously achieve soul focus easily and effortlessly, assuming the attitude of the observer as we have practiced with impersonal love in group formation, and we use creative visualization easily and effortlessly, and align and the ajna center as the screen of the higher mind. We continue to lift the energies of the solar plexus to the heart and on to the heart in the head. Therefore, we are lifted into higher consciousness and become inspired to reach even greater unity in soul consciousness, striving as one towards the Buddhic plane and the spiritual triad, and seeking to articulate a seed thought that will take us through Aries to Taurus and illumination. Ponder on this. Possibly incorporate in the seed thought the beneficent changes and transformation taking shape to manifest upon our planet, the life in which we live and move and have our being. With this great event, this conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, having closely followed the alignment and structure of Meditation 4, in the coming days allow time and space for meditation on the seed thought you've chosen, allowing precipitation of and receptivity to higher ideas, life, strength of purpose, spiritual courage, ashramic intent. At the close of your meditative pondering, sound.
I strive towards cooperation. Let the master of my life, the soul, and likewise the one I seek to serve, throw light through me on others.
And allow that light to permeate your being, to be your radiating presence in every moment. and bring that light into all our group work, uniting groups with strength and courage, connecting our groups subjectively and objectively, exercising self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. That we may achieve reorientation, resulting in a clear vision of the plan. That we may embody on the highest level the way in which the life principle manifests as directional will, purpose, and basic incentive, that magnetic pull, the power of the one life pouring through the new group. As coherent force, the love of the one soul characterizing our group life. And as the activity of the atoms and cells of the physical body, fulfilling our part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. Sound to yourself now and attempt to remember daily what is known as the 5 o'clock mantra, this great affirmation. See the life pouring through the group of all true servers. Let the love of the one soul characterize your life. And call for the fulfillment of the plan and each part of the one work that we achieve in our unified efforts. As Master DK says, today we are watching the death of a civilization or cycle of incarnation of humanity. And we see daily in this world crisis the horror and suffering, which he tells us is in the last analysis the result of successful evolutionary processes. We have studied death and dying. We know that this death is not the final death. We are ready to recognize that when a man's life cycle has been run and he's learned the lessons which the experience of any particular life has been intended to teach, that his physical body and the inner form aspects will begin to deteriorate, destructive agencies within the form itself will become active, and eventually death will take place, resulting in the liberation of the indwelling life in order that a new and better life form may be built. We know this. We now have to apply it to those institutions, those forms in our civilization that we have become attached to, and be ready to lead humanity into the new civilization. And he reminds us that what's true for an individual is true for humanity. That these cycles of civilization that we call our modern civilization are analogous to a particular individual human incarnation, with its inception, its progress and growth, its useful maturity, and its ensuing deterioration and subsequent death or passing away of the form. Let us lift ourselves out of humanity's crisis point to serve at that higher level, to stand at the midway point, loving, healing, serving, as we are called to do, and yet knowing, to dare to know that we are guided by hierarchy and advancing into the new civilization together, now and in future incarnations. And take every opportunity for duty, dharma, to serve for the release of humanity from the karma of the past error. Martine.
Any Yoga, Fiery World 3, Sloka 426. Only in unity is strength. This has been known since time immemorial, yet people have always transgressed this law. Precisely unity is needed in order to carry out a difficult task. If humanity were willing, it could work miracles through unified striving. But the small, sporadic efforts at saving the planet are very weak. Again, we are obliged to repeat about the necessity of unity.
Six words for disciples. 1. Recollection, resulting in concentration. 2. Response, resulting in an interaction between higher and lower. 3. Radiation, resulting in a sounding forth. 4. Respiration, resulting in creative work. 5. Reunion, resulting in the at-one-ment. 6. Reorientation, resulting in a clear vision of the path.
Keep in mind our unity, the vision of the hierarchy, knowing and daring to realize the unity that we have with all ashramically affiliated groups working in service of the Christ at this time. Let us rise above any glamour of separativeness. Let us rise above any glamour or illusion of division and difference, and fully realize the unity that we share. Gratitude for your service. Let us continue together as we prepare for the Wesak Festival and our preparation as a discipleship group united with all true servers in incarnation, and those assisting from the other side of the veil. Martine, would you close our time together with this beautiful rendering?
O divine fire, burning bright and luminous on the altar, accept and take possession of all the offerings that the devoted bring, and grant us this priceless treasure. May we come together and speak together. May our minds be in harmony as the gods of old, when they sat together for prayers, with minds attuned to each other. Let us be one, united be the voices. Let our minds be in union with the thought of the wise and the words I speak to thee. Let us be united and together even in the sacrifice we offer to thee. May our aim be one and the same. May our hearts be joined as one. May our minds rest with the peace that arises from true union. So may we be.